Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations Under the Canopy. My name is Umberto Chacon. I am your host. First, a little housekeeping. This is being recorded. We'll have time at the end for questions, so please type any questions you have into the chat. And after the webinar, there will be a survey and a follow-up email with the deck. I'm a former HR leader in Silicon Valley with a master's in HR and organization development, who has been working with Canopy the last couple of years as a customer success and business development executive. Conversations is a series of short sessions where we speak with Canopy and industry experts to help us learn about services and customer success stories and gain actionable insights in the world of employee well-being, engagement, and performance. Our guest today is Desiree Davis, Associate Director of Clinical Services, who is a counselor and coaching expert at Canopy. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist with over 8 years of experience in the mental health field. Desiree earned a bachelor's in psychology from the University of New Mexico and a master's in marriage, couple, and family therapy from Lewis and Clark College. In this conversation, Desiree will help explain what coaching is, its benefits, and how it differs from counseling. Welcome, Desiree.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So first, what is counseling? Or
So for
coaching, sorry. They were so stuck on that. What is coaching?
coaching. So really what coaching is having that person to kind of touch base with regarding a very specific goal. Oftentimes that's can be related to, work, work-life balance, different like personal goals that the person might have. And to have, that person that can help somebody kind of like tease through like what is doable, right? Like how do we make something that is a goal that's attainable essentially. And then having that point person to kind of like check in, right? Tweak like, hey, what worked, what didn't, like how can we keep moving you forward?
Okay, great. Maybe tell us just a little bit more about coaching.
Yeah. So oftentimes it's really helpful if somebody does have a specific goal in mind, but there are times where folks say like, I know I want change, but I'm not exactly sure what. And so that first conversation can be very exploratory as well of like, okay, well, like, let's go through some different facets. Let's see what would really be normally like a first or a next step into other goals that you might have. Um, and then evoking again like those strategies, what's that plan of action that you're going to be moving towards. So one of the examples that we have with one of our coaches, he was working with a woman that was hoping to work towards a promotion. And she'd been with the company for a while, was really hoping to kind of move up. She felt like she could succeed in a management role, but was a little doubtful of herself, right? She'd been with the company for a while. She hadn't interviewed in a very long time, and was just not sure, what would this all like look like and what would it change, right? With like the impact to my relationship with my coworkers, etc. So we really just worked with her on interviewing skills, like, hey, let's highlight your strengths. How do you come at this in a way to really like highlight yourself? And by the third coaching session, she had been hired. She got the promotion that she was looking for, which is amazing and fantastic. And we did get feedback from her later in a survey. Like she liked her coach so much that she's planning on, once the benefit renews, meeting with him again next year.
Wow, that's great. How is coaching different than counseling?
So again, it is very goal oriented, right? So it's going to be more of like, hey, let's keep kind of like to the specifics, what's working, what's not. When, like myself as a counselor, when I'm working with clients, it's a little more exploratory of, like past, present, future, and, more like emotion based. And so for the coaching sessions, it's really going to be a little more specific, and then they help refer if there's additional support that's needed.
Okay, great. And tell us a little bit about the interests that we've seen in coaching here at Canopy.
Yeah, so we've definitely seen more interest. As you can see, is 2 times as much as we had in 2020. So I think a lot of that is the work-life balance. So we saw a lot of transition during, COVID, of people working from home or different kind of hybrid models, and like how do I structure my day in a way that I can still function in both places, right? Work and at
Hmm.
home.
Right.
Um, and I think that also, our groups have done a really good job of promoting life coaching. And
Hmm.
so we've definitely had more folks touching base and asking about it.
Right. Actually, this next slide talks a little bit about promotion, because we've definitely seen an increase in interest in this, because coaching is in addition to counseling, right? So people get sessions for coaching in addition to their counseling benefit. And yeah, we've had groups ask for flyers. So we have like this coaching flyer. Our member site has a whole section on coaching. And yeah, we've seen a lot of groups really start to promote it.
Mhm.
That's great. And what are some topics that are often covered in coaching? Tell us a little bit more. And I tell us like one example, but tell us a little bit more about some of the
Yeah.
topics.
So more often than not, it is career based. So that's going to be the most frequent. But then again, like the work-life balance, time management is the next one. And then achieving kind of this like very specific goals, like folks are like, hey, I really need to clean out my garage, and it feels like an unattainable goal. And so,
Mhm.
okay, like how do we really just like make those into small chunks so that you feel like you can do it, or at least get it started, right? We can't clean your whole garage for you, but we can definitely start working on it.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great. Um, and what if someone needs counseling? What, you know, what happens if someone maybe is asking for coaching, but really it's counseling? What's the process to get them to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what the coach will do is kind of explain at the top, regardless of what they're coming in for, we explain what coaching is, what they can expect moving forward in that process. And so sometimes the person can already identify, well, I was actually hoping for something a little bit different. And whether they can identify it or we identify it kind of later in that coaching session, we'll then let them know that, hey, like what you're looking for is a little more emotion based. You're going to want to have somebody that can touch base with more than the life coaching benefit, maybe somebody you could eventually see through insurance. So we'll in that session help with a referral through Canopy and get that initiated right there in session.
That's great. Great. Do you have any other examples or anything else you want to say about to illuminate what coaching is?
Yeah, I mean, well, one of my favorite things, I know that it it sounds silly, which maybe is why it's my favorite, but when we were really like putting together some specific training for our life coaches, a word that I came across was accountability. And it is now
Never
my new
heard that.
favorite word, but I really feel like it encompasses what we do, right? It is more so like we're developing a relationship with the person that we're coaching, but also being that accountability person. We're going to check each time on like, hey, what did we set as the goal, just even, between sessions? Was it attained? Was it not? What can we do? And then continuing to just, again, be an accountability person, but be also like a friendly, like comfort
That's
while you're
great.
doing it.
Right, right. Thank you for that new word. Appreciate
You're welcome.
that. So when we go to questions, and we actually have one from the chat, Desiree.
Mhm.
Um, are coaching sessions typically video or telephone based?
So clients have the option of either, so they can choose to do phone or video. I'd say that right now we have more folks that do phone because oftentimes they're doing coaching like on their lunch break
Mhm.
or like in other places where maybe they don't want to be on video, but we always give them the option of either or, whatever works best for them.
That's great. That's great. Maybe tell us a little bit about the number of sessions. It's in addition to counseling, but what are you seeing as far as number of sessions?
Absolutely. So, I mean, most folks that initiate life coaching or coaching sessions do use the full amount of sessions that are
Mhm,
available to them.
mhm,
So, generally, most contracts that we have are 3 meetings with a life coach, but we do have other groups that have expanded that to a higher amount of life coaching sessions, just so that sometimes depending on the goal, it is helpful to have an accountability person for a little
mhm.
bit longer, right? Than
Yeah,
maybe that 3 sessions is.
that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Just type into chat. We'll give you a minute for that. Maybe not. Okay, that's great. We're going to give people back a little bit of time. So thank you, Desiree. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. The next session of conversations is going to be around our new leadership micro trainings, and that will be December 1st and at same time. And the registration will be up on our events page soon. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, and be well, everyone.